in the coldest abyss. I long for you. You who enthralled me with the promise of pleasure. You lifted me beyond the firmament and sunk me beyond where light may touch. Day by day, I waited for you. Alone in the wake you left behind. Your silence, my agony. Your absence, my desperation. I lost my shape to the pressure, collapsing under the weight of the void. I revised what I called salvation until it resembled you. What remains is a phantom, an echo of us. And yet, in drowning darkness, I still worship. Welcome back. It's been a while, and a lot has happened since last we met. I could launch into an entire diatribe about my feelings on Even in Arcadia. I could give you an entire monologue about how grateful I am for the insane amount of support and love that the first video received so unexpectedly. But if the latter is what you're looking for, you can find it here in the Act 1.5 Intermission video. If you haven't seen this video yet, there's a link for it down in the description. I take my time going over some of the comments I received on the first video, spotlighting and exploring some alternate theories, and I also give my interpretations of the bonus tracks in Sundowning's Deluxe Edition. In addition, I use this video to announce a brand new community project that you can join right this second. And if you'd like the uncensored version of the intermission video with all of the lovely copyrighted music and videos still intact, you can find that on my Patreon, along with a whole bunch of other goodies that we can talk about later. But I'm getting off track. We're not getting into all of these things here, because that's not what you're here for. You're here for the rest of the story. So, without further ado, today we begin our second act. Today we will talk about This Place Will Become Your Tomb. This album is easily my favorite so far, and according to the comments, I'm not alone in that sentiment. And for me, that's for two main reasons. Number one, This Place Will Become Your Tomb is home to some of my favorite songs in the entire discography. Fall For Me, Missing Limbs, The Love You Want, Descending, Mine. There's not a single song on this album that I would skip. This entire album is packed full of impressive musicianship, masterful composition, and some of the most beautiful and poetic lyrics that Sleep Token has ever written. The second reason is that, narratively speaking, I love the way this album is structured. I love the story that it tells, and I love how it chooses to tell it. That is, assuming I have it right. But I'm more confident in my interpretation of this album than I am in any of the others. Once again, I'm going to place a disclaimer here. First of all, if you're new here and this is your first video of mine that you're watching, welcome. But also, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is part 2 of an ongoing series. If you haven't seen part 1, I'm going to be referencing it a lot because we'll be using my previous interpretations of Sundowning along with some of the alternate interpretations and revisions that we made in the intermission video. So if you'd like to get caught up, I would recommend attending that sermon first. I know that this is a daunting task, because the first video ended up being almost 2.5 hours long, and the intermission wasn't exactly short either. But who am I kidding? You clicked on this video after seeing the timestamp, so... Wait, actually, how long did this one end up? Oh god, fuck. Oh no, I did it again! Oh, this album is almost half the number of songs as the last video. How could it possibly be this long? How could I have done this to myself again? I am the creator of my own prison. I forged these bars with my own 2 hands. Second of all, as I've already said, I am more confident about my interpretation of this album than I am about any of the others. But once again, that's not to say that I am infallible or that any of these interpretations are 100% correct. Just as before, if you feel as though your analysis differs from mine, please share your thoughts in the comments. I will make another intermission video highlighting as many of the theories as I'm able to, and for those of you who saw the last intermission video, you know that some of those comments actually changed my mind and left us with a complete reinterpretation of one of the songs. And of course, as always, I highly recommend listening to the source material first before watching. If you thought the last album was heartbreaking, this one is far more devastating, and for as hard as I'm able to try and express that in this video, my words will not even scratch the surface of the emotions found in these songs. Sleep Token really begins to lean into their imagery and symbolism to tell their story in this album. Listening through the music, the instrumentals evoke themes of water, depth, and the ocean. The 808 in Like That almost sounds like an object hitting the metal hull of a ship. The piano at the beginning of Telomeres moves in and out like waves on the coast. The plucky synth at the beginning of The Love You Want almost sounds like a steel drum submerged beneath the water. And that theme pervades all facets of this album, from the cover to the visualizers to the music videos. Hell, even the merch for this album plays a part. There was a piece of merch released for this album, specifically this t-shirt, and in the artwork a set of coordinates were hidden. 35.716 north, 122.7167 west. These coordinates land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, specifically on the Davidson Seamount, where in 2019, a group of researchers discovered a whale fall at a depth of 10,623 meters. For those who don't know, a whale fall is when a whale dies and its corpse falls to the ocean floor. This massive abundance of food is quickly set upon by scavengers and bottom feeders, and it creates almost its own micro-ecosystem. And the artwork on the t-shirt seems to be referencing this, as it shows a whale in various stages of decomposition. During their performance at the 2021 Heavy Music Awards, they flashed a set of coordinates on the screen: 48.52.6 south, 123.23.6 west. These are the coordinates of Point Nemo, the most remote location on Earth. The point in the ocean furthest away from any permanent human civilization. Already, before we've even read a single lyric, before we've even heard a single note, Sleep Token has established the themes we're going to be tackling with this album, and they are, once again, just as foreboding as the title. We're picking up right where Drag Me Under left us. Vessel is isolated, sinking deeper below the surface, and it's only going to go deeper from here. Are you ready? Then let's begin our sermon. This place will become your tomb follows the precedent that the first album set. The first song in the album is a prologue, a bit of a summary of how Vessel has been since the last time we saw him. Looking at Atlantic through this lens, Vessel is not doing well at all. Call me when they bury bodies underwater. It's blue light over murder for me. We are already off to an incredibly bleak start. This blue light to me can signify a couple of things, but the first thing that comes to mind for me is an emergency vehicle. In the United States, emergency vehicles tend to use red and white lights, with police vehicles using red and blue. But in the UK, which is where Sleep Token originates, most emergency vehicle lights are predominantly blue. It's hard to tell if this is an ambulance or a police vehicle from the start, but it seems that Vessel has chosen blue lights over murder, chosen to call an emergency first responder rather than going through with this killing. But killing who? It could be that Vessel has been asked to make another sacrifice, but he couldn't go through with it. So maybe he gave in? Called the police on himself? Not quite, but we'll get there. Merry in the morning, earn your bitter fodder. It's easier to try not to eat. Whatever has happened, Vessel has taken an extremely nihilistic turn. He's become bitter, asking the world, why would you bother waking up happy every morning, going out to earn just enough food to survive? It'd be easier to just not eat, to be rid of the world, to not slave away, just to be alive, but miserable. So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches, anything to get me to sleep. The sleep he's referring to can mean so many things here, and I think he might mean all of the different meanings at once. Obviously, sleep is his god, the deity that he has been worshiping, loving, pining after this entire story. Why has he been removed from her? Where is she? Sleep can also mean the literal definition: rest, slumber, recovery. Hypersomnia, or excessive sleeping, is a common symptom of depression, both because of the chemical imbalances, but also because of the emotional state caused by depression. Maybe he wants to get back to sleep because when he's asleep, he doesn't have to think about the world. And we can also take this to the darker, more metaphorical definition, the eternal sleep of death. And judging by the line that came right before this may be what he means. Bandage up the trenches is an incredibly evocative line because in this context, trenches evokes the idea of deep cuts. Vessel is recovering from a suicide attempt. For one reason or another, Vessel tried to end his life. Regardless of whatever definition of sleep we are running with, Vessel grew so hopeless since the last album that he tried and failed to be done with it all. And maybe the blue lights from before are referencing the ambulance. Maybe this was his way out. Maybe the murder was of himself. And at the last minute, just before it was too late, he chose the blue lights instead and called an ambulance. I woke up surrounded, eyes like frozen planets just orbiting the vacuum I am. They talked me through the damage, consequences, and how it's a pain they know they don't understand. Vessel wakes up in the hospital surrounded by doctors who seemingly saved him from death. They sit him down and talk with him about the residual damage. It seems like they try to be sympathetic, to be understanding of the pain that he had to have been going through to resort to this. But Vessel doesn't seem to care, doesn't seem to be able to care. He's a vacuum, empty, tired, emotionless. Sobbing as they turn to statues at the bedside, I'm trying not to crush into sand. So flood me like Atlantic, weather me to nothing, wash away this blood on my hands. In the aftermath, it seems like friends and family have come to visit him in the hospital, and they're heartbroken, crying. All of them there to offer support to Vessel, but it doesn't seem to be helping. The weight of everything is crushing him, the weight of his failure, of the fact that he's still here, the weight of his friends and family, their disappointment, their worry and concern. He wants to feel relieved, to feel loved or supported, but instead he just feels suffocated. The pressure like that of the ocean as he sinks deeper and deeper back into the depression that put him in this hospital bed in the first place. They'll never understand. How can they? At the end of the song, Vessel repeats, "Don't wake me up." Part of him still wishes that they hadn't saved him, that they would have just let him go. He doesn't want to be woken up. He wants to go back to sleep. Whatever version of sleep he wants is up for debate. The visualizers in this album are less visually descriptive. They all feature water, swirling blues and blacks getting darker and darker the further we go. But one thing changes each time: the depth listed beneath the title. The depth in Atlantic reads 914 meters, which is the start of the bathypelagic zone, or the midnight zone in the ocean. The depth where sunlight is no longer able to reach. Following the pattern of the previous album, we finish the prologue and move on to our first chapter. And much like the last album, this one starts with an offering. But this offering is not the same, and truly, how could it be? Vessel is a changed man by this point. The Vessel we saw in the offering was enthusiastic. He truly believed this to be an equitable relationship. He was giving himself, all of himself, to a God that he believed would love him and cherish him as much as he did her. But one full album later, we know that's not the case. And so does Vessel. Unfortunately, that won't stop him from throwing himself at her, begging to be accepted again. Lift, oh lift me out of my own skin, of all my doubt. Take from me. Leave nothing left. Take everything. Sink your teeth. Split my skin. Just to make me bleed. Oh, and give me all that I want. Just give me all. He has taken his offer from the second song of Sundowning and boiled it down into its essential components. Take everything from me. Devour me whole, hurt me, cut me, bleed me out. Do whatever you want. Just give me what you promised me. You owe me that much by this point. Give it to me. There's an air of desperation in his words here, in his tone. He's desperately seeking her approval, likely to atone for his transgression, for attempting to end his life and to take himself away from her. But there also seems to be a tone of defiance, of resentment here. Especially with the line, "Leave nothing left, take everything." As if he's saying, I know your game. I know how this works. Just get it over with. At the end of this song, Vessel repeatedly sings, "You know you hypnotize me, always." And over the top of it, he almost screams this next verse. "And you make it more than I could ever feel before." What Vessel truly wants here seems to be irrelevant. He is utterly addicted to sleep's presence, and if he is going to be forced to live, he would at least rather live under her control. In the offering, Vessel gave himself over completely willingly, but entirely unknowingly. He had no idea what was in store for him, how he would be treated, what she would do to him. But here, in Hypnosis, Vessel knows exactly what he's getting into, exactly what he's offering up. And he's doing so begrudgingly because at this point, he feels like there's no other option for him, but he's still offering it. But something feels off about this song, and maybe it's just my interpretation, but it seems like there's much less back and forth here. Something about the way Vessel is structuring his language makes it feel more abstract. Whereas before, in previous songs, it felt like a direct conversation, as though Vessel was singing directly to her. This song feels like he's screaming towards her absence. highlighted by the long, drawn-out verses, the space in between each word. Is Sleep gone? Has she abandoned him? I mean, this wouldn't be the first time. Vessel has told us himself in the past that she's left before, and he knew that she would do it again. But this time feels different. This time feels permanent. I think what we're seeing here is Vessel mourning the loss of his god. Let's put a pin in that as we move on to the next song. This song only seems to reaffirm what I felt in the last one. Here, Vessel laments about how long he has waited for Sleep to return to him, but he hasn't given up hope. I have waited, paralyzed by my own will, viciously reminding me still, I'm born to believe. I am certain that you and I are crashing course, driven by a holy force. I know you can see that you will be mine. This is our confirmation. Sleep is gone. Vessel tried to bring her back with his offering in Hypnosis, but he received no response. And now, Vessel has been patiently waiting, rooted in place, watching the clock tick by as he waits for Sleep to return to him. She's nowhere in sight, and he seemingly hasn't heard from her since his attempt. But that hasn't deterred him yet. He believes deep within his soul that she will come back. She has to. It's destiny. Fate has bound them together, and nothing can change that. He just has to wait and be patient. And soon, she will be his again. It's hard to know how long this takes. Days? Weeks? Months? We balance fire in the earth we walk. Will never stop me reaching forth to see you again. With colors over all the wasted years, eternity will bring you near. I know you can see that you will be mine. Vessel is steadfast. Nothing could stop him from reaching for her, from waiting to see her again. Eternity will bring her near, even if he has to wait for the rest of all time. Eventually, she will come back. She has to, right? After the second chorus, Vessel gives us this line in a quiet, almost timid voice. Did you not say that we were made for each other? It's clear what's happening now. Sleep has been gone for long enough. The Vessel has begun the stages of grief. And what we're witnessing here is denial. He cannot accept that she's gone, cannot wrap his head around the thought that she has abandoned him. So instead, he sits alone and tries to comfort himself. She has to come back. I know she will. She told me that we were made for each other. She's my soulmate. She wouldn't leave me like this. She couldn't leave me like this. We are tied together by destiny. The fates have woven our threads into a divine tapestry. We're entangled together on a quantum level. She couldn't actually leave me like this. Could she? It's only a matter of time before you come back to me again. And this time, it will be amazing. You will be mine now and forevermore. I just have to wait. I just have to wait. I just have to wait. In the visualizer video for this song, the depth reads 2,734 meters. The reality of the situation has begun to set in, and Vessel is not taking it well. He's angry, spiteful in a way that I don't think we've seen him before. Even the rage that we experienced in Gods doesn't quite hold a candle to the fury hiding just beneath the surface. Trapped under the surface of your words, there is a new intention. New whispers that once could not be heard, catching your intention. Wait, talking with razors on your tongue, just to provoke my combat. New weapons to snap those final strings, just to watch me fall back. Do you like that? He repeats this last question a few times. Do you like that? Vessel isn't talking about a new pattern of behavior. He's reflecting back on how things were just before she left. His last moments with her running through his mind, his life with her flashing before his eyes as he comes to terms with the possibility that it may be gone forever. He's remembering how she talked to him, how she treated him, how she manipulated him, pulled at his strings, and danced him around like a puppet for her entertainment. He's thinking back to all of the things that she said to him, all of the things that he failed to read between the lines, the whispers hiding in the background showing what she truly wanted from him. And looking back at all of these instances, Vessel just has one question. Do you like that? Is this what you enjoy? Is this what you want from me? To put on a little show for you? To lash out? To fight back? To stoop to your level? Is this what makes you happy? He's practically spitting his words, saturated with rage. In the next verse, the time signature changes briefly, creating this awkward, almost stumbling rhythm between the lines, and it almost feels as though Vessel himself is stumbling through the next handful of lines. Almost like he's drunk, drinking heavily to cope with the emotions he's drowning in, and the further he goes, the more he loses his inhibitions, the more his bitterness truly begins to show. Push down into membranes and layers, creating a slow dissection. I stumble into your tar trap, an addition to your collection. Do you like that? Vessel is starting to understand this relationship for what it is. It's likely that Sleep abandoned him so that she could seek out a new play toy. His life really didn't mean all that much for her, just a specimen for her to observe, dissect, tear apart, and then stow on the shelf, forgotten while she seeks another victim. Fall into your eyes like a grave. Bury me to the sound of your name. As Vessel sings these lines, we hear him growl in the background, barely audible. All that's inside, all your anger, all your disgust, all your resentment, all your pain. As Vessel is spiraling, realizing how he's fallen for her tricks over and over, succumbed to her manipulation, allowed himself to be buried alive to the sound of her name, something is rising to the surface. As he emerges from his metaphorical grave, so too emerges all of his anger, his resentment, and more importantly, all of his pain. Vessel has arrived at the anger stage of grief, and he is letting it all out, unleashing his fury and his resentment and his agony, but there's no one left to be a target. Vessel is alone. Sleep isolated him, cut off all of his supports, burned all of his bridges, and then left. Vessel screams to no one. In the visualizer video, the depth reads 3,644 meters. The anger begins to subside, but not completely. In the first few lines of this song, there's still a little bit of spite remaining. Not the unbridled rage of the last song by any means, but a slight tone of resentment nonetheless. You lie an inch apart on your own continuum. Now keep the freak show talk to a careful minimum. Vessel is criticizing Sleep here, and not subtly either. Vessel found some moxie somewhere in the last song, and he's letting Sleep know everything that she did wrong. He's telling her that her path is clearly going in a different direction than his. She lies an inch apart from him. She's on her own continuum, her own trajectory, so close and yet heading in a completely different direction. Her desires for this relationship are not the same as his. Vessel's idea for the end goal of this relationship lies miles apart from Sleep's. And he's putting some rules down, telling Sleep that if she wants to be a part of this conversation, we're going to be serious about this, and we're going to keep the weird sexual shit to a minimum while we work this out. He's setting boundaries for her. He's issuing her a list of demands. Vessel has made it through anger and has reached the next stage. Bargaining. I'll find a different harbor to lay my anchor in, and you'll find a different way to keep from setting sail again. But I'm still full of the love you want. Still, I'm waking up beneath it all, and I'm still full of the love you want. I reach for you on faith alone. He's threatening her, saying he'll leave if she won't cooperate. He has no problem setting out and finding someone else to take him in, and he knows that she's going to try everything that she can to keep him from leaving. But he reassures her he's still full of love for her, and he's happy to give it to her if she'll just talk to him. He's not going to go back to the way things were before. He wants things to be different this time, and if she's willing to make these compromises, he's willing to take her back. But this seems off, right? Like, yes, Vessel is threatening to leave, but it's pretty clear that his heart is just not in it. Like, he's making these claims, saying he'll leave, he'll find a different harbor, someone else to dedicate himself to, but we can tell he doesn't mean it. Not really. He's saying what he thinks he needs to say to get her back. It seems your heart is locked up and I still get the combination wrong. Or are you simply waiting to save your love for someone I am not? Too many swallowed keys will make you bleed internally someday. But maybe you believe, in the end, you will be better off that way. He's starting to call her out more and more here, pointing out her flaws, the way she closes herself off. He's still somewhat in denial. He sees this whole abandonment thing as a test. Like Sleep is a lock he needs to pick, a combination he needs to guess. He's calling her out the way an abuse victim does when they fear retaliation. He's walking on eggshells here, but he's still trying to speak to her, to push through her walls. His message is clear. I still care about you, but I'm setting some boundaries. I'm still full of the love you want. I'm happy to go back to giving you that love, but some things are going to have to change. You're going to have to open up to me, for real this time. Unlike previous songs, this one has a music video, and it is rife with symbolism. The song begins with Vessel sitting in a clearing surrounded by deep, blood-red foliage. The branches all around him are covered in white ribbons tied neatly into bows. Vessel sits leaning against a tree, a sword in one hand and a loose white ribbon clutched in the other. And these white ribbons could mean a number of things. White is a symbol of surrender, waving the white flag, so to speak. In some countries, wearing a white ribbon is a symbol of sincerity and mediation. Vessel may be surrounding himself with these ribbons to signal to Sleep that he's ready to negotiate, that his motives are sincere and genuine, and that he just wants to work things out. Above all else, though, a white ribbon is a common symbol of awareness. Similar to how the pink ribbon is used to symbolize the fight against breast cancer, the white ribbon symbolizes the fight against domestic violence and sexual abuse. If anything, these ribbons are a cry for help, surrounding himself with symbols of his own struggle. And we see Vessel stand up and tie the loose ribbon in his hand to a nearby branch and walk away. Remember the cycle of violence we talked about in the last video? Remember how we said that the incident of violence isn't always an act of physical violence? Sometimes that incident of violence can manifest as emotional manipulation, verbal abuse, or even abandonment. I think each of these ribbons is representative of another incident of violence, another lap around the cycle of abuse, another turn in the downward spiral we talked about before. Each time, Vessel ties a ribbon to a branch, like tying a string to his finger. He leaves himself a reminder of what she's done to him, a reminder of how she's hurt him, a reminder not to go back to sleep. And as he ties up his most recent ribbon, we can see how well they've done for him up until now. It's almost like it's become a collection. With sword in hand, Vessel leaves his tree and begins walking through the forest. He catches a glimpse of a woman wearing a sheer lace robe over black clothes as she moves through the trees. Vessel finds a blue bar of light and uses it almost like a lantern, guiding himself through the woods. As he reaches a clearing, he sets the light down and places a hand on the hilt of his sword. And we see that he has found his target. A clearing full of women, dressed in the same black clothes, draped in sheer white lace robes. The girls' faces are painted white, with 2 red dots above and below each of their eyes. And around the wrists of the woman in the center are 2 white ribbons. As Vessel sings the second chorus, these women begin performing a dance routine. Their movements are somehow stiff and jerky, yet also fluid and ethereal. If the wardrobe and the face paint weren't enough, the dances should clue you in on what these dancers represent. This is the very love that Vessel is singing about, his love for sleep. Their face paint and makeup seem to resemble the mask that Vessel wears, which itself is presumably a representation of his god. The 4 dots combining with their pre-existing pair of eyes to resemble the 6 eyes of Vessel's mask. The contouring on their faces creating similar curves, the pale white coloration a near perfect match to Vessel's own face covering. The chorus repeats more of what we've heard before. I'm still full of the love you want, still waking up beneath it all. And I'm still full of the love you want. I reach for you on faith alone. I'm still full of the love you want, still waking up so alone. And I'll be full of the love you want, no matter what, forevermore. This is where the proverbial mask slips, where Vessel shows his hand. Much like in Give from the previous album, Sleep Token uses the change in the choruses to indicate progression and change throughout the song. And in this case, Vessel can't keep up this facade anymore. He can't keep up this air of indifference and strength. He doesn't actually care if Sleep follows his rules, respects his boundaries, sticks to his guidelines. He's still full of love for her, and despite how conflicted and confused he feels, despite the tension shown by the dances that these women perform, the back and forth, the push and pull, Vessel is still full of love nonetheless, and there's nothing he can do about it. He will continue to reach for her on nothing more than faith that one day she will come back. And he'll continue to harbor this love, to cling to these feelings until she returns to accept them, because he doesn't know what else to do. To quote Mayday Parade, all the love's still there, I just don't know what to do with it now. Except Vessel seems to know exactly what to do with it. As the buildup leads into the bridge, Vessel approaches the clearing and draws his sword. If she's not going to accept his love, he's going to get rid of it himself. Excise it like the tumor it is. And that's exactly what Vessel tries to do. It's clear from his movements that he does this reluctantly. He doesn't want to be doing this, and despite his best efforts, the dancers dodge his swings with grace and ease, their movements looking almost as though they're taunting him. And when they've had their fun, the dancer in the middle, the one with the ribbons around her wrists, holds out a shaky hand, almost as if controlling Vessel by sheer will. Vessel, powerless to her influence, drops to his knees and turns the sword on himself. As the song begins to fade out, Vessel wakes up beneath the same tree as before, his sword in one hand and a loose white ribbon in another. Without hesitation, Vessel stands up and ties this ribbon to a branch just above the first. Yet another failed attempt to leave, yet another battle lost. But Vessel won't give up that easily. As he ties the bow once again, he turns to walk away and begin the fight all over again. This song is easily one of my favorites on the album. It was a favorite even before I started picking apart the lore and the narrative. But in the context of the story, it's one of the most heart-wrenchingly devastating songs in their entire discography. And a lot of that comes not from what the song says, but from what it doesn't say. Do you hear that? That echoing silence, screaming back at you? You may think that I've forgotten the instrumental for this song or that I've chosen not to play it, but you're wrong. This is the instrumental. Fall for Me is immediately striking as Vessel's voice echoes in rich, beautiful harmony through empty, cavernous silence. Vessel's bargain falls on deaf ears and the silence echoes Sleep's response. Nothing. Just pure, empty silence. Vessel screaming into the void.
In a city of ice, there are burning cathedrals, turning the skies into glass. And through echoing futures are the buckling sutures that horse at the wounds of the past.
Immediately, Vessel is painting us a picture. In a city of ice, there is a church of fire, and the image this creates is pure poetry, a holy place, a place of worship and religion nestled into a frozen city and melting it from the inside, destroying the very fabric that holds together the society within. This is meant to be positive, a beautiful depiction of a solemn, frozen city being thawed out by the burning heart of love and desire found within the church at its center, filling the skies with plumes of smoke that spread across the city, turning the heavens into a beautiful stained glass work of art for all to see. But it's possible that the more likely interpretation is that Vessel's relationship with religion, with his God, is rotting him from the inside out, tearing apart the very fabric that holds his city together. He references these buckling sutures, stitches that are holding together the cuts and lacerations of the past, but barely holding on, threatening to burst open at any point, and I can't help but think of the trenches he mentioned in Atlantic, the wounds from his previous attempt. The video in this section begins with a shot of Vessel's hand, frozen and stiff. As the camera cuts to show Vessel trudging barefoot through the sand, we are greeted with a line of text. The truth is, I am due a harsh lesson. Followed shortly by another. In truth itself, and how bitter it can be. The screen then fills with the same line repeating, Will you teach me? Vessel is wandering alone in this vast wasteland, trapped with all of his own thoughts. We see him staggering, stumbling, tripping over himself. The lines across the screen seem to be Vessel half talking to Sleep, but half talking to himself, knowing that she can't hear him. Almost like he's rehearsing in his head what he would like to say the next time he saw her. The lyrics continue.
So won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? Through a fractured existence, won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? from reality to the rhythm of eternity. Won't you fall for me?
Sleep Token has done something that I feel is commonly neglected in portrayals of grief and the stages that we go through. It's so easy to make each stage of grief a single bullet point, just one step along a linear path. But each step is complex, full of its own ups and downs, and bargaining is one that I feel we are so quick to graze over. Bargaining isn't as simple as so many portrayals make it out to be. It's not a single offer. Bargaining is a slow and methodical process of offering more and asking for less and less in return. In The Love You Want, Vessel lays his first offer on the table. I'm still full of the love you want. I'm still here for you. You just gotta follow these rules, respect these boundaries, and if you do that, I'm all yours. And when that offer is met with silence, Vessel lowers his standards. Won't you fall for me? Please, God, just fall for me. Take me back. Even if I must wait through the rhythm of eternity, please, just fall for me. Vessel has no choice here but to continue bargaining, relinquishing his boundaries and ceding ground to Sleep's silent demands. There's no compromise anymore. Vessel is simply begging. During the chorus, more text flashes on the screen. The truth is, I am ugly. I am inadequate. I am lost. I am no God. These internal thoughts that we see flash across the screen depict a man in conflict with himself, one who feels undeserving of love, attention, or even basic decency. Why would Sleep ever fall for him, he wonders. He could never measure up to her expectations. He is no God. The lyrics continue.
My insecurities surround me like lions in the den, and I feel like I'm losing touch with what I am again. Slowly I remember why I cannot pretend that I never think of you in all this screaming silence.
Vessel is drowning in his insecurities, losing his sense of self. Once again, as Sleep Token loves to do, we call back to more biblical imagery. The story of Daniel in the lion's den. The story here details a man named Daniel. Daniel's master, Darius the Mede, issues a decree that nobody is allowed to pray to anyone other than him for 30 days. Daniel, being a devout man of God, ignores this decree and prays to his God. And as punishment, he is thrown into the lion's den. However, Daniel's God protects him from the lions, and after surviving the night, Daniel is allowed to walk free. The imagery that this connection brings is pretty clear. Vessel sees himself as Daniel. This whole thing is a test. It must be, right? Sleep is testing me, testing my faith. My insecurities and fears surround me, threaten to consume me at any moment. But surely Sleep will protect me. Won't she? Part of him knows that his pleas go nowhere, as there's no one to hear them. He's realizing he can't do this. He can't go on without Sleep's love. He asks himself, what can I do? What is left of me now? Who am I without her? And deafening silence answers his call. Finally, Vessel screams,
Oh God, I wish you were here.
He finally admits what he wishes weren't true. He wants to be able to hold his ground, stand up for himself, stand firm and unwavering in the face of his grief. But the truth is, he doesn't know how to live without her anymore. Like he told us in Fields of Elation, he has lost his faith in their lives apart. Vessel may have carved his boundaries in stone, but even stone erodes away beneath the ocean waves until there's nothing left but sand. The text on the screen returns. The truth is, I want to live, and so do you. I just can't do this any longer. As the final chorus begins, Vessel reaches the water. We see him stumbling through the wet sand, followed by a shot of him lying motionless in the shallow pool. The text on screen reads, "I am afraid. Are you afraid?" Vessel fumbles with the tattered remains of what appears to be a note, but we can't clearly read what it says. Judging by his trembling hands and the little we are able to see, this may be a note to sleep. It may be the very words we're reading on the screen. Vessel's offer to sleep, Vessel's next suicide note. Before we can get a good look at the note, more text covers the screen. "I want to understand what it is to let go." The text is interspersed with clips of Vessel wading out into the water, further away from the sandy wasteland he's been wandering through, and deeper into the waves. The text continues, "For now, let me serve as a living drama of your pain. If we are able to be submerged, let us be submerged together." The final chorus echoes through the silence, more powerful than those that came before it.
So won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? Through a fractured existence, won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? From reality to the rhythm of eternity, won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? With my love as your garden, won't you fall for me? Won't you fall for me? From reality, I am yours in the end, so won't you fall for me?
Vessel sings the last word alone. His chorus is gone, and we watch as his shoulders disappear beneath the waves, and he continues to wade out into the depths. The imagery here is stunning and heartbreaking all at once. For Vessel, it is better to be submerged than to be wandering aimlessly, consumed with doubt and self-hatred. It's better to be dragged under again than to be alone with his thoughts. And so he lets his walls down completely and throws aside his boundaries, ready to submit to sleep once again. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of a break. I started tearing up as I was writing that part, and then again as I was reading it, and that's for two main reasons. First and foremost, I am what the kids nowadays might call a crybaby little bitch. The second and arguably more important reason is that this music is so packed full of just intense emotion that I can't even begin to scratch the surface of it with the words in this video. So if for whatever reason you have not gone and listened to the source material before watching this video, now is your daily friendly reminder to go do so. I find that it makes for a far more fulfilling analysis experience if you know the source material, and it is a great way to show love for the creator of said source material, because frankly, without them, I wouldn't be here making this video. So even though I know it's going to decimate my watch time sending you away from this video in the middle of this video, and it's going to look pretty bad in the eyes of the algorithm, I'm going to encourage you to do so nonetheless, because I think you'll enjoy the rest of this video far more if you felt what's in the music. But before you go scampering off to go listen to all that delicious sleep token music like the good little worshiper that you are, I wanted to take this time real quick while I have you here to introduce you to my brand new Patreon. Despite the 400 plus hours that I've put into these videos, sundowning, intermission, and tomb included, and despite the fact that they are all very clearly fair use, the Big Red Button app has decided to copyright claim my videos and demonetize them all to hell. So, if you would like to support in a different way, you can do so over at my Patreon, where For just $1 a month, you get access to bonus content, such as the alternate cut of the Act 1.5 intermission video with all of the sleep token music and other footage that I had to cut for copyright reasons still intact. Plus, future bonus videos, including my interpretation of Take Me Back to Eden and Even in Arcadia in a more informal, summary vlog style video, both of which are available now at time of posting. Think of it as a sample, a little amuse-bouche to whet your appetite in preparation for the longer, more formal video essays that I will be making on both of those albums, which, at the pace that I'm going, will be ready in about... I don't have a watch. You'll also get a shout out at the end of all future videos, early access to all future videos, an exclusive Discord role in my Discord server with its own exclusive channels, as well as potentially some more bonuses later. And if you're looking for ways to be even more supportive, there is also a $3 tier and a $5 tier, which are completely optional and functionally identical to the $1 tier. The only real difference is the color of the role in the Discord server and the level of recognition at the end of each video. Well, and I mean, I guess there's the council, but like, there's nothing different about that yet, so. The fuck do you mean don't talk about it? What do you mean don't talk about it? Wait, hold on. Who the fuck are you and how did you get in here? No, who the fuck are you? If you're able to donate from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you can't tell from the gap of time between this video and the last, these projects take forever to create and any amount of support is helpful. I have absolutely zero delusions about being able to quit my job to do this full time. This is fully a passion project for me, but I do appreciate the support nonetheless. And that goes for all of you who liked, commented, subscribed, watched the video once, watched the video multiple times, shared the video out to various random social media platforms. I had to make a Tumblr. Do you understand how fucking crazy that is? This video got shared out to Tumblr. I haven't touched Tumblr since I was 12 years old. I have a Tumblr again. Here it is. The link is in the description if you want to go check it out. Give me a follow. I don't use it. I don't know how to use it. I haven't touched Tumblr in over a decade. I'm scared. Everything is different and I don't understand. You guys are the reason that I had the motivation to make this video and to make this entire series, for that matter, and I can't thank you enough. I haven't felt this creatively fulfilled in a very, very long time. With that being said, if you're enjoying this video and you haven't already, now would be a great time to leave a like, leave a comment telling me how much you love the video, subscribe, share it off to another random social media platform. The more obscure, the better. What about Parler? Does Parler still exist? If it does, go share it over on Parler. I'm sure the guys over there would love to hear a long-haired queer guy talk about a heavy metal band based around a horrific eldritch deity. Liking, commenting, subscribing, it's all a really great way to show support. It's 100% free, and it shows the omnipresent algorithm that you guys are enjoying it, and who knows, maybe it'll take mercy on me for daring to use copyrighted music. I feel really weird advertising myself, and I don't think it's something I'm ever really going to get used to. I really hate bragging about myself, and that is what this feels like. It feels like I'm sitting here in my shitty little office in front of my shitty little jerry-rigged green screen, telling you that this silly little internet video that I made is worth more than the time you've already invested to watch it this far. And I don't know, that feels weird to me, but also I know there's some really lovely people who took to the comments in the first video to complain about the fact that I didn't have a Ko-Fi or a Patreon or anywhere that they could support me. So here you go. Here it is. And I can hear you saying, but Austin, if you feel so awkward and weird, why are you continuing to talk about how awkward and weird you feel rather than just going back to the video? And that answer has two parts. Part number one, I am terrible at transitions and segues. And part two, how the fuck did you get into my house? How the fuck did you find me? Okay, I moved far away. I don't understand. How the fuck did you get in here? Where the fuck did you come from? Any resolve that Vessel has left is gone, and we finally reached the end of the bargaining stage. The Love You Want showed us Vessel's initial offer, an even compromise more or less. In Fall For Me, Vessel lowered his standards and began begging, and in Alkaline, he has dropped any expectation of reciprocation. He is once again giving himself over to sleep and begging her to come back. And the way he does this is the only way he knows how. He worships. Every once in a while, something changes, and she's changing me. It's too late for me now. I am altered. There is something beneath. She has fully consumed him, inexorably distorting his very essence. He's powerless to stop her, so he's given up. He can no longer resist her influence. This is the offering that Vessel was too hesitant to give in Hypnosis. She's not acid nor alkaline, caught between black and white, not quite either day or night. She's perfectly misaligned. I'm caught up in her design and how it connects to mine. I see in a different light the object of my desire. He's obsessed, fully infatuated. When he began bargaining in The Love You Want, Vessel put down clear, unwavering boundaries. In Fall For Me, we watched him throw those boundaries aside, basically begging Sleep to just take him back. Here, in Alkaline, he's not even begging anymore. He's just bending over backwards to give her what she wants. Complete and utter worship. Unconditional devotion for nothing in return. He is powerless at her feet, begging her to take control of him, begging for another chance. He sings her praises, and notice that he's referring to her now in the third person. He isn't singing to her anymore. He's singing about her to us. He's fulfilling his promise, singing her praises to the masses, screaming about how much he adores her. He's writing her gospel. Let's talk about chemistry, because I'm dying to melt through to the heart of her molecules till the particles part like holy water. If anything, she's an undiscovered element, either born in hell or heaven sent. Either way, I'm into it. He doesn't care what she is. He doesn't care what she does. He doesn't care how she treats him. He can't resist anymore. He's suffering from withdrawal, in agony at her absence. He's desperate to be one with her, to make his way back into her good graces, to feel her love again, no matter what form that may take. His cells, his molecules, the very fabric of his being longs for her. This is the final song on the album that is accompanied by an actual music video. The video opens on Vessel sitting in a cluttered room in the heart of a massive, decrepit mansion. In the opening shot, the floor is littered with bodies, nameless, nondescript forms, corpses dressed in hazmat suits, wearing gas masks. As the song progresses, we witness a small group of these figures alive and wandering through the mansion, wielding laser-sighted rifles as they search. It's clear by the way they are moving, peering around every corner, covering each other's blind spots. This is a task force sent to hunt down Vessel, his very own personal SCP mobile task force. Are these those enemies that Sleep mentioned before? As they get closer, Vessel sits with outstretched hands, moving them in jerky, sporadic, unnatural movements, not unlike the group of dancers from The Love You Want. As he does this, massive spider-like creatures and prehensile vine-like tendrils begin to emerge from the cracks and crevices of the house. As the task force reaches Vessel, he dispatches them one by one, freezing their bullets midair, breaking their bones with just the wave of his hand, and dragging them into the depths of the house with the help of his creatures. At first, I had a hard time interpreting this video. Who are these people? Why are they hunting him? How does Vessel suddenly have the Force despite having never done any Jedi training? Why didn't he have to work for it at all? Is the entire Star Wars fandom falling apart due to poor writing and directing in the new trilogy? Or has it always been this bullshit and we've just been blinded by the nostalgia of our rose-tinted glasses, forever despising the newest installment while propping up the previous entries as the golden standard? Does anyone even actually like watching Star Wars, or does everyone just like remembering when they watched Star Wars? In this essay, I will... Oh, what? Oh. Well, shit. No, you're right. That's not what this video is about. Actually, that's not what any of these videos are about. That's not what any of these videos will ever be about. I will be cold and dead in the ground before I make a fucking Star Wars video essay. Anyways, after watching this video a few times, I had a thought. This whole thing feels like a power fantasy. These people don't exist. They are nameless, faceless figures that Vessel has conjured in his mind, arming them with rifles and setting them against himself so that he can show them his true strength. This is Vessel's subconscious, his internal fantasy, being able to stand against anyone, to defend and protect himself. This is his way to feel in control of his life, especially as the song takes such careful measures to let us know that Vessel feels powerless. The video and the lyrics are such a stark and drastic contrast, it's impossible not to draw the comparison. If the listener was meant to interpret that the powers Vessel exhibits in this video are true and literal, that this is the gift bestowed upon him by sleep, that this is his God's reward to him for his devotion, Vessel wouldn't be singing the lyrics that he is. The song would be about the power he feels from her, the strength that he gains in her presence, the way she energizes him and lifts him up. But that's not what we get. Instead, Alkaline forces us to listen as Vessel subjugates himself to sleep, giving her everything she wants despite the abuse she's put him through and the current and absolute abandonment that he faces. And as the video fades out, we see that even here, Vessel cannot escape the fact that even in his most outrageous fantasies, he is alone. Vessel sits alone in silence, just as he has before. Distraction opens with a repeating note on a piano. More specifically, it's a sample of a singular note being looped repeatedly. It's a small distinction, but one that makes a difference. And you can tell immediately when it switches from this repeating looped sample to someone actually playing piano. Before we've even heard a word, we've already been given our establishing shot of Vessel trapped in a loop on repeat, stuck in place, frozen in time. The lyrics don't paint a much brighter picture. Oh, and I know, I can tell I'm falling further again, but I won't turn away. It's far too late for me. Vessel is sinking further below. He has bargained all he has left, and to no avail. And as he comes to terms with the fact that there's nothing he can do, that no amount of bargaining or begging will bring her back, Vessel slips into the next stage. Depression. He can tell he's sinking back to the depths that drove him to his first suicide attempt at the start of this album. There's nothing left for him now. He has accepted his fate. 'Cause I am broken into fractions. Oh, and I am driven to distraction. Vessel is falling apart, and the only thing keeping him from fully going under is whatever he's using to distract himself. It's hard to tell what it is, but my first thought is alcohol or drugs. We already got a potential hint of alcohol as a coping mechanism in Like That, and the way that Vessel is singing here, the hazy, disjointed way that he's talking, like he's talking around the point and never quite getting there, makes me think he's using a substance of some kind. Or at the very least, he's experiencing some kind of dissociation. Regardless, whatever this distraction is, it's not a good one. But he's at a loss. He doesn't know what else to do with himself. And even as he sinks deeper into this depression, falls further and further towards rock bottom, he can't help but think about her lovingly, as though her return will heal everything. Oh, and I swear, she is not like any other. Something much more than I could ask for. It's too late for me. It's almost like there's a sliver of that bargaining phase left, just the slightest hint of that overwhelming need to worship, but it's fading fast as Vessel can barely get the thought out. He doesn't even get a chance to elaborate before he's consumed with that overwhelming dread again. It's too late for me. And as the second chorus ends, this line repeats again and again, over and over, consumed by the deep depression that pulls Vessel in further and further, deeper and deeper. All he can say is the one phrase that continues to haunt him: "It's too late for me." At the end of the song, we shift back from the actual piano to the stagnant, repeating loop of a piano sample, fading out as the song ends. We're right where we were in the beginning, and it's hard to know how many times Vessel has looped through this same thought pattern, over and over. And this might also explain why the thoughts in these verses seem so half-hearted. How many more times can he really tolerate to tell himself the same thing, to repeat the same thoughts over and over? The video for this song is a visualizer once again. The depth reads 7,284 meters. If you've been following the pattern of the stages of grief, I'm sure at this point you're expecting the happy ending. You're expecting me to pop in and say that this is the song where Vessel pulls out of his depression, where he finally reaches acceptance, and he begins the road to recovery. But unfortunately, you and I both know that's not the case. Because just as Vessel is at his lowest point, right when we expect that he's going to pull out of this and leave her behind for good, sleep comes back. But Vessel isn't going to just let her pretend like nothing happened this time. Just take it all for nothing again. Create, release, you just don't feel the same. I asked, and you answered, but you eat your words in vain. At last, discover that you can't recall my name until I let you fall. But I've been left no choice. Don't you see that? Vessel is biting back at sleep, letting loose all of the contempt and disgust he feels for her. He tells her, go ahead, take everything from me like you always do. None of it matters anymore. You couldn't even remember my name. That is, until I finally started to let you go. And now you want me back? I asked for your love and you responded with silence. And now you eat your words, or I suppose your lack of them. But it's all in vain. It's too late. I'm already gone. This song gave me a little bit of hope. Is Vessel finally going to tell Sleep where she can stick it? Is he finally going to let her go and move on with his life? You come crawling back to me, but I'm already on the ground. And we all know that talk is cheap, so come on and save me now. And you wonder what I believe, but you don't want to be around. So what would you do for me? This chorus struck a nerve within me for reasons I can't explain. Vessel is just so snarky. There's a venom in his voice that I haven't heard up until this point. And it's refreshing to hear, especially having been on this journey with him and seen all that he's gone through. Had she returned to him a little sooner, had she given him even a moment less to think about it, he might have welcomed her back with open arms. But that's not enough for him this time. Talk is cheap, and he's heard her promise him the world and more over and over again, but she never delivers. Now Vessel is demanding her to prove herself. He's at the brink, ready to give it all up and leave her behind for good. She's going to have to do something truly spectacular to win him back this time. So Vessel asks Sleep, "What would you do for me? What are you actually willing to offer here? Because I'm not giving you everything for nothing in return. Not this time. I won't repeat what I have said beforehand. My love withers and chokes in perfect awe. Till I let you fall away, I've been left no choice. Don't you see that?" He's spent this entire album talking to her, wasting his breath, singing her praises, begging for her love. He won't repeat himself. Those feelings of love and admiration are withering on the vine, dying slowly, and she let him languish in this state of decay until he finally let her fall. He had to let her go. She abandoned him. As the second half of this verse plays, Vessel in the background repeats this very profound thought. Why don't you just say what you wanted to say? And I think this is Sleep, chanting this over and over again, almost goading Vessel into finally just spilling his guts and letting her know how he really feels. Why don't you just say what you wanted to say? Those thoughts you've held within, those feelings you've been harboring, the songs you won't sing to me. Just let them out already. And I can't help but to believe that he does. That this is the purpose of Descending, for Vessel to finally purge these feelings, lay them bare out in the open. The feelings we saw him holding back in Bloodsport and the deluxe edition tracks, the pain, the resentment, the questions, all of it comes pouring out. For a long time, this was my favorite song on the album. And much like the others, I only loved it more when I began to analyze the narrative. Vessel here is on the cusp of liberation from her. He is standing strong, ready to lash out and push her away if she can't meet his standards. The bar may be on the floor, but it's higher than it's ever been. She truly does have to go above and beyond what she's done before, truly save him, protect him, and nurture him if he's ever going to consider taking her back. In the video for this song, the depth reads 8,194 meters. Listening to this song in isolation, it would be easy to believe that this is a beautiful, romantic ballad. And on its own, that's exactly what it is. Scrolling through the YouTube comments, there are people saying that they played this song at their wedding. And honestly, I would be tempted to do the same. But following the story as we have, Telomeres is not the loving, romantic song that it seems to be. The title, Telomeres, is in reference to a term in genetic biology. Telomeres act as little end caps on the tips of your chromosomes, made up of long strands of proteins. Think of them like an aglet, a protective cap that prevents your chromosomes from becoming tangled, corrupted, or damaged. This sets up the theme of the song, Sleep inserting herself as this protective role, but it also serves another purpose. For those who don't know, when a cell divides or reproduces, the chromosomes are duplicated across the cells. However, when this duplication happens, the telomeres shrink ever so slightly. Now, as you're sitting here watching this video, your cells are reproducing literally billions of times per day. The more the telomeres shrink, the less protection there is for the chromosomes, and the more susceptible they are to corruption and damage. This is why you become more susceptible to things like cancer the older you get. Each time the cell divides, each time it goes through the cell cycle, it inches closer and closer to becoming corrupted, cancerous, and malignant. Much like this relationship, each time a new cycle happens. For a long time, I thought this song was from the perspective of Vessel. Maybe because I became so used to hearing his voice exclusively on this album. Maybe because I was desperate for him to experience even a small moment of joy and peace in the midst of this turmoil. But, as my co-theorist Ethan has pointed out, this song is clearly from Sleep's perspective. You guide me in to safety and silence. As you breathe me out, I drink you in. Sleep has come crawling back when Vessel was at his lowest point, more than likely because she needs him again, to lift her up, to give her the praise and worship and self-sacrifice needed to elevate Sleep back to the level she wants to reach. And this first verse echoes those vague sentiments of gratitude that Sleep showed in Give, when she said, "You take the dark and carve me out a home." But this time it's far more explicit, reframing Vessel's desperate pleading as though he's gently welcoming her in. She praises his efforts, praises him for spreading his gospel, all while downplaying the agony and misery he's been feeling. And as a reward, she's once again consuming him, though it's framed in a far gentler way this time. Not vicious biting, but drinking him in. Just when Vessel had a chance to move past her, she swoops in and erases all of the progress that he's made. And sure, on the surface, it seems as though she is finally giving him the love and protection that he has always wanted, but we know better by now. And we go beyond the farthest reaches where the light bends and wraps beneath us. And I know as you collapse into me, this is the start of something. Line after line, Sleep sings these lyrics that almost come off as threats, but she dresses them up in a way that, out of context, they sound incredibly loving and romantic. On the surface, this song is saying, "Together, we'll go where we've never gone before. Fall into my arms. This is the beginning of a beautiful new relationship." But beneath it all, it tells a different story. I will drag you down to the deepest depths, down to where light can't even touch you. And as you collapse into my arms, too weak to fight back, this moment marks a new low for you, a new level of dependence. There's such a dissonance between the way this song presents itself and what it truly means that it's no wonder why so many Sleep Token fans find themselves on their wedding day dancing to what I consider to be one of the darker songs in the whole discography. Rivers and oceans, we could beckon. Your eyes and your limbs are instruments to pick apart the distance within. It's almost as if Sleep's facade slips here, like she forgets how to romanticize what she's saying. She could have said something to compliment his eyes, to tell Vessel that she will take him by the hand and guide him to their destination. But instead, she's strangely honest. His eyes only serve as a means to deceive and convince him. His limbs, nothing more than a means to guide him, or more likely, drag him to where she wants him. His body is solely a series of connected instruments that she can use to close the distance and bring him back to her, to manipulate him into servitude once again. Let the tides carry you back to me. The past, the future, through death, my arms are open. Once again, Sleep is framing it as though it is destiny, playing into the beliefs that Vessel showed us in Mine. She isn't dragging him back, the tides are merely carrying Vessel back to her, like it was meant to be. And time has no meaning anymore. The past, the future, life, death, it's all the same. Sleep's arms are open, and this cycle is going to continue now and forevermore. There's two aspects of the instrumentals that I want to point out. First, listen to the way the piano rises and falls. This gentle ebb and flow, like waves crashing softly against a shoreline. And second, pay attention to the actual notes that the piano is playing. Does that sound familiar? Maybe it scratches an itch in your brain that you just can't put your finger on. Would it help if I gave you a hint? Here, let me help. Does this sound familiar? This is the outro to Black by Pearl Jam, and while I would love to go into a line-by-line analysis of this song as well, this video is too long already. So I'll just go ahead and hit the important points. Black, on its surface, is about a breakup. Specifically, the aftermath of a breakup. If I had to assign it a step in the stages of grief, I would call it depression. Though I think all of the stages make an appearance here. After all, despite how nice it is to imagine each step as having a definitive beginning and end, grief doesn't move in a straight line. Eddie Vedder sings about how this loss has tainted his perception of the world around him. Everything reminds him of her. The world is a little darker now, a little more empty. The air he breathes tastes bitter in his mouth. The sound of children's laughing makes him bristle with anger now, and all of his memories have been washed in black, tainted and corrupted. All that used to bring him joy now only brings him anguish. And the final verse, I think, is the most important. I know someday you'll have a beautiful life. I know you'll be a star in somebody else's sky. But why can't it be mine? This is it. This is the acceptance that Vessel never got to reach. This is Eddie letting go, accepting that someday she'll find someone new. And yeah, he's heartbroken, but he's accepted his reality. He's accepted that she's gone. He finally has an opportunity to begin to move on and to heal. An opportunity that Vessel is deprived of, as sleep returns and drags him deeper below. And it's only after this verse that this repeating riff begins, the riff that serves as what sounds like the foundation for Telomeres. To me, this piano melody in Telomeres is a soft echo of the acceptance that Vessel was denied, a reminder of what could have been, a gentle undercurrent of false closure, manipulated to draw Vessel further into this relationship. And much like Eddie Vedder's memories, and much like a chromosome whose telomeres have eroded away, this relationship begins to corrode and corrupt into something far darker. It's hard to say how long this is going to last, how long she'll be able to keep up the facade before Vessel realizes that everything is right back to where it was before. And even though it feels as though sleep is dragging Vessel out of the depths of this depression, we know in reality she's actually just dragging him deeper, as the depth in the video for this song reads 9,104 meters. The mood in this song immediately shifts, and we can see that while Sleep's flowery romantic language worked well enough to keep Vessel here, it didn't wash away his doubts completely. For the time being, I will still ignore my own questions, and we both bury that history deep. But you know I can hold my breath forever. For the time being, you are still the perfect reminder of what all of these scars on my arms are for, if I can hold myself together. Vessel might have decided to stay, but he certainly isn't completely sold on her promises again. There are things left unsaid, words left unspoken, questions left unanswered, but he's willing to put that aside for now in service of letting this relationship get back to some sense of normalcy. Vessel will not forget, however, everything that was done to him. He's let her back in now, but he's still on edge, just waiting for her to slip back into her old ways. Vessel tells himself that if this happens, he'll leave. He tells himself that this is her last chance, that he will forever remember the scars that she gave him, and that he won't give her another opportunity to leave more. But we know that's not true. He's convinced himself and the people around him that he has set the bar high, but by letting her back in the first place, he's already shown Sleep that what she did to him was forgivable. That no matter what she does, no matter what atrocities she commits, the door is never truly closed. And I choke myself on sacred vapors, waiting on some holy favor, basking in the solace of regret. And it seems my hell is your high water. Wash me clean again before I pull myself beneath the waves. Vessel continues to drown himself to the point where Sleep no longer has to pull him down at all. He'll drag himself under all on his own. And he'll keep doing it over and over, waiting for something to change, waiting for her to finally fulfill her promises, to turn her favor towards him and give him the love and attention that he's been seeking. Sleep is reveling in this, and Vessel knows it. This is exactly what she wants. For Vessel to just keep throwing himself at her feet, to wash himself clean, to wash away the blood on his hands and throw himself to the waves to begin the cycle anew. At least there's some comfort here, I suppose. Some amount of relief that Vessel can find from the regret that he feels. The regret gives him hope. Clearly, he sees now how bad things are. He regrets coming back. He regrets letting her back in. So surely, next time will be different. Next time, he'll leave for good. At least, that's what he tells himself. When the mouth of infinity buries its teeth in me, I'll smile through the agony for you. And I know you still bear the weight of your own existence, but you'll never bear the weight of two. Vessel will continue to smile through the pain so long as it means he's feeling something, and so long as it means that Sleep is with him. Not always, of course. She seems to still come and go as she pleases, but Vessel is doing all of the heavy lifting here in justifying her absence. You're handling enough as it is. Your own existence is such a burden to bear. Of course you can't care for me. Vessel just further digs himself a hole, layers on more and more excuses for Sleep, justifying his decision to welcome her back in. And this is unfortunately a common symptom of abuse. We are naturally programmed to want to be correct, to want to believe we're doing what's best. So when we're confronted with this cognitive dissonance, with clear and irrefutable evidence that the decision we're making is wrong or harmful to us, we tend to try and justify it to ourselves, especially when confronting reality seems like it will be more painful than just bearing it a while longer. For the time being, I will admit my defeat again. I will accept that I can't pretend that we will ever be together. It's almost as if we've returned to the very same understanding that Vessel had in The Night Does Not Belong to God. Vessel understands that she can never truly be his, that he can never truly have her. And so he just has to be happy with these fleeting moments in which Sleep returns to him whenever she feels like she needs it most. In the video, the depth reads 10,014 meters. As the curtains fall, we're left with one final line screamed out from the depths of Vessel's soul. But before we close, we get one more song, yet another introspective epilogue. Vessel isn't really singing out to Sleep in this case. Much like in Bloodsport, Vessel is looking inwards and saying all of the things he wishes he could say to her. That is, if he was able to work up the nerve. Just let me know if nowadays the outer rounds of heaven don't keep up on the charm offensive anymore, failing to remind you what you're living for. Finally, here at the end of the album, we've reached the conclusion of our allegory, the final stage of grief. Acceptance. Not the acceptance we were hoping for, not acceptance of Sleep's absence, but acceptance of her presence, of the way that she is, of the way that things are. He's come to accept that this is just how it's going to be. She's going to leave him, chase divinity, revel in her power, and when she gets bored or loses power, she'll return to Vessel, abuse him, and then leave again. And the second halves of both verses are connected, running parallel with each other. I'd give anything to borrow your indifference. I'd drink you in, to temper your belief in all my promises, to swallow my desire and choke on it. And then the next verse. I'd give anything to balance your conviction with certainty, to fall asleep without you lying next to me, to sever my connection with everything. Vessel is telling us in clear language what he wants, what he truly wants with all of his heart. He wants nothing more than to feel secure in this relationship, to learn to be okay with the way things are, to borrow Sleep's indifference, to let him just not care anymore about her abandonment and abuse. Failing that, he'd like to just be free from this relationship, to temper Sleep's expectations in his promise to worship her forever, to finally be able to leave her behind and to be okay with it. And failing both of those, well, Vessel would rather be dead. And it still makes my blood run cold to remember what I did before, the stories that you never told to me. And it still makes my blood run thin to remember what you are to him, and I'll live like I've got missing limbs for you. Vessel is still horrified with himself over what he's done, the atrocities he's committed, the sacrifices he's made, all in Sleep's name. And this line about how there's stories she never told him further reaffirms for me what we had theorized before and what a lot of you pointed out in the comments of the first video. This isn't just Vessel that's committing these acts. Sleep is possessing Vessel, taking control of his body, shoving him over into the passenger seat, or maybe completely blocking him out, sending him into a state of unconsciousness, only to wake up with blood on his hands. And yet Vessel still considers these to be things that he did, even though he can't remember them at all, even though Sleep hasn't even told him all of the things she's made him do. But who's this him that Vessel is talking about? There's never been a third character in this story, so what's going on here? Here's the thing. I do have a theory on this, but it's not one I'm completely sold on yet. In my overarching theory, stretching all the way to even in Arcadia, there is one additional character that makes an appearance. One that I thought until recently only appeared in even in Arcadia. But this may be our first hints at that character. And that character is...
Whoa! Hold on there, buckaroo. You didn't think I was actually going to give you Arcadia spoilers that easy, did you? Well, I mean, actually, I was close to it. I actually recorded an entire section about it here because I was so thrown off by this one random erroneous pronoun that I went on to ramble about it for a good, 2 minutes. If you still want to see that whole bit, I will go ahead and leave it in the Patreon version of this video. But thanks once again to my incredible co-theorist Ethan, I've come away with a far more conclusive and definitive theory. You see, as we read through the lyrics of Missing Limbs, it's important to take note of a few key details. Specifically, this line in the first chorus. It still makes my blood run cold to remember what they did before, the stories that you never told to me. I glossed over this section before, and I'm not entirely sure why. In my head, I think I just assumed that this was Vessel referencing the ways in which the gods cast Sleep out of heaven, the stories that Sleep refuses to tell Vessel about her past. But that never sat quite right with me. It never made as much sense as I wanted it to. But there's one other song that talks about them. How much did they hurt you? The way that you were. How much did they break you? The way that you were. How far did they take you? The way that you were. This was the missing piece. Missing Limbs is not merely an internal battle, it's a dialogue, a conversation, a reconciliation between Vessel and Sleep following the incident of violence. Sleep makes reference to those people, the ones in Vessel's past, the ones who hurt him, that broke him. It still makes her blood run cold to remember what they did to him, the stories that Vessel still hasn't told her about the traumas that he's faced. And this makes sense, because in the very next chorus, Vessel references another song from before sundowning. And it still makes my blood run cold to remember what I did before. The stories that you never told to me. Which, as I've already said, feels like a clear reference to Sleep's possession of Vessel, her infiltration of his mortal form, shunting him aside into the passenger seat of his own body, taking control to perform these horrific acts, just like she did in Nazareth. And then that final line, "And it still makes my blood run thin to remember what you are to him, and I'll live like I've got missing limbs for you." The him that Vessel is referring to here is himself. To be more specific, the version of himself that he lost, the person that he sings to in the church during the music video for The Way That You Were, the person that he was before all of this, the man that he was before his suicide attempt. Vessel is not that man anymore, but he hasn't fully left him behind. He's in there somewhere. Somewhere deep down, the person that Vessel used to be is still in there. And that's the part of him that can't let Sleep go. It makes Vessel feel weak and powerless, like he'll never truly be free because he knows what Sleep means to the person that Vessel used to be, to the person that made Vessel get into this situation in the first place. So he's willing to live as only a fraction of who he is in order to serve Sleep for the rest of his life. The depth listed in the video for this song is 10,924 meters. This is known as Challenger Deep, and it is the deepest point in the ocean known to man, located at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. As this album closes, Sleep has truly brought Vessel as low as humanly possible. Okay, time to slow it down a little bit. If you've made it this far into the video, congratulations and thank you. Thank you for sticking around this long. I like to take this time at the end of the video to have an unscripted conversation, more or less, just kind of going over my general thoughts and wrapping things up in as neat of a bow as I'm capable of. If you're wondering, this is a wild berry mead. I'm a mead guy now, so there's some extra Austin lore, if that's what you were looking for. Now'd be a great time if you'd like, take a second, stretch your legs. If you're of age, grab yourself a drink maybe. Come hang out and let's talk about this. This album is by far my favorite of all of their music, and that's counting even in Arcadia. It came close there for a second. There was a point in there where I thought, man, narratively speaking, at least my interpretation of the narrative, even in Arcadia comes real close, but it just didn't quite surpass it. There's something about the way that This Place Will Become Your Tomb tells its story and paints these pictures and expounds on these ideas that I just can't get enough of. If you can't tell by my analysis thus far, the main theme of this album is grief. And I think that that's why so many people connect with it so much. I think that's why so many people latch on to this album in particular, because we've all felt that in some way or another, in different avenues and in different magnitudes. Every single one of us has felt grief. That's not a controversial or bold statement to make. Whether you're grieving a lost relationship or a family member who has passed away, if you're grieving a diagnosis or a disability, grieving the person that you could have been before an accident took away your ability to do something, right? Every single one of us has experienced it in some way, shape, or form. And while this is a very unique showing of grief, this is a very situationally specific form of grief within the narrative and the lore, Sleep Token writes in a way that is broad enough that it can be applied to a number of things. And I think the way that it portrays that grief is just as important, because it shows us that all of these different stages don't have a clear defined beginning and end. They don't have a clear-cut resolution, a clear-cut flag to say, all right, you've completed denial and now you can move on to being angry. That's just not how it works. And Some stages take longer than others. Bargaining took 3 separate songs, gradually developing over the course of like a fourth of the album. And it also explores what happens when our grief is interrupted, because as I'm sure most of you know, life doesn't stop when you're grieving. Life doesn't stop when bad things happen. You don't get to just take 3 weeks of bereavement leave from every facet of your life to just go through all the stages and get your shit together and call it a day and go back to life like normal. If you've experienced grief yourself, which if you are a human being above a certain age, I'm assuming that you have, you know that that's not how it works. And importantly, this album shows us what happens when our grief is interrupted. What happens to Vessel when Sleep comes sweeping back in after abandoning him in the middle of his attempts at recovery and healing. She just storms back in and demands a place in his life again. And then you have to contend with, well, what do you do in that situation? In Descending, we almost see him go through all of the stages of grief again as he's attempting to cope with this new information. We see him going through denial and bargaining again. What would you do for me? What can you do for me? What are you willing to offer now that I am down here on the ground? A bargain, sure, but also a little bit of denial, a little bit of a hint of maybe there's something left that she can do to prove herself to me, to justify me letting her back into my life. We see the anger and the vitriol and the venom in his voice, the depression that he feels, how he's already on the ground. It's too late for him. You can't do anything now. And then finally, in Telomeres and High Water, a reluctant acceptance. And I think it was also incredibly important for them to frame acceptance the way that they did, because acceptance is not a clean-cut end to the grief. That's not where it stops. Grief continues after that, and sometimes the acceptance that we reach is not good. Sometimes it's unhealthy, an unhealthy, harmful coping mechanism that we've reached, that we've convinced ourselves is the be-all and end-all and the way that we're gonna get through this pain. And then sometimes when you come to the realization of how unhealthy and harmful your coping mechanism is, you have to go through the same process of grief again just to reach a new acceptance, to reach a new level of understanding. I am intimately familiar with grief, if you aren't already aware, as I'm sure many of you are. And while I'm not going to go into an entire diatribe about all the people that I've lost and the things I've experienced and whatever I've been through, I did want to take a second to talk about Grace. Grace was a very good friend of mine, and unfortunately, she passed away in 2021. Grace was the type of person who impacted anybody and everybody that she met. And so when she passed away, it was felt by so many people, especially Grace's family, who did something very unique in their path to acceptance. In the link in the description, you'll find a website, wearinggrief.com. I'll put the link up here on the screen as well. On that website, you're going to find all kinds of merchandise, all related to grief in some way, shape, or form. There's t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's mugs, stickers, grief journals, all kinds of things. And there's even a section of products in which all of the proceeds go towards a scholarship that help people in the local area to be able to afford to attend things like grief workshops. I've gotten to witness this project be built from the ground up, and it's been really cool to see. And if it's something that you feel like you would like to support, feel free to check the link down below. None of the proceeds go to me. It all goes towards Grace's family and the people who made the designs, as well as that scholarship that I'd mentioned earlier. Going back to the album, I really love what Sleep Token has done with This Place Will Become Your Tomb. In my mind, there's two different types of concept albums. Number one being a conceptual concept album, something that takes an abstract idea or a concept and explores it in its entirety. These I find are less common, or they're at least less commonly referred to as concept albums. Because most of the time when people are thinking of concept albums, they're thinking of the second kind, a narrative concept album. When someone takes a story or a narrative and stretches it out across an entire length of an album. Sleep Token here, I feel, has done both, and it's kind of incredible. They have simultaneously made an album that, in my opinion, is exploring the concept of grief and watches as Vessel goes through the stages of grief, but also at the same time is telling a very important chapter in Vessel and Sleep's overarching narrative. I've been incredibly excited to make this video in particular, and I have a lot of mixed feelings now that it's all said and done. I sincerely do hope you enjoyed it. I took some creative risks in this video that we'll see if they paid off. I personally enjoyed how they came out, and I'm hoping that you feel the same. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like because it's free and it helps me out tremendously. And if you disagree with the theories I posed in this video, if you disagree with a single song or a single line or the entire thing writ large, then please leave a comment letting me know what your thoughts are. And if your theory is different enough to warrant its own entire separate video essay and you wish that video essay existed, oh boy, do I have a project for you. If you check down below in the description, there will be a link to the Act 1.5 intermission video. And if you haven't seen that video already, there is a community project that I announced in that video that I am now, at time of posting, officially renaming to the Somatic Scriptures. What this project is simple. For those of you who don't want to go all the way to the Act 1.5 video, I will give a very brief summary. The Somatic Scriptures is a project in which I am collecting what I have dubbed alternate reality theories, theories that are so far and distant from my own personal theory that they would warrant their own video essay exploration. And I'm taking these concepts and I'm gathering people that believe in these concepts and that are theorizing around these concepts and forming basically a big group project where we all get to work together to create our own video essays. The way it works is that when you join the Discord server, you'll find a channel that is labeled Tokenverse Sorter. In the pinned posts in that channel, you will find a list of all of the current existing sleep token theories, as well as a brief description of each of them. If you feel as though you fit into any one of those categories and want to work on any one of those particular essays, let me know and I'll assign you a role that allows you to participate in that discussion and in the writing of that script. If you personally aren't convinced of any of those theories, you can either create your own, in which I will assign you a role, a channel, and give you free reign to run with it, or you can take what I've called the floater role, where with some added caveats and rules, you are able to explore all of the different theory channels that exist currently and contribute to them as you see fit. And if you'd like to be notified of when the Act 2.5 intermission comes out, as well as the future Act 3 video in which we discuss Take Me Back to Eden, hit that subscribe button. My goal currently is to reach 50,000 subscribers by the time I reach the end of analyzing Sleep Token's currently available discography. And if you've already liked, subscribed, and left a comment pledging your undying fealty to our Lord and Savior Sonic the Hedgehog, and you're wondering to yourself, Austin, how else can I support? I want to do more. Luckily for you, like I mentioned before, I do now have a Patreon where you can go to support me along with all of these incredibly lovely people you're seeing on the screen right now, including the members of the Council, like The Forgotten King, Robbie B212, Ghost, Acidic Eternity, Hypaga, Jackson M, Ibuprofen, Cody C, Lucent and Tenebris, Simple Joe Crypto, Tashi Click, and Hazel W. A huge, massive shout out to all of you, the flock, the inner circle, and the council. You guys are incredible and I cannot thank you enough, and I really hope that you've been able to enjoy the little bit of Patreon exclusive content that I've been able to offer, and I promise there will be plenty more coming. Thank you all so much for attending this sermon, and I will see you at the next one.